Buckle up, boys and girls, because class is starting and it's going to kick your ass. This is the Prepared Mind.
We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics. Voter fraud. We have put together voter fraud. We have put together voter fraud, the most extensive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
By the way, that was not taken out of context. He really is that stupid. Unbelievable. Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel, folks. What day is it? I guess we're going to call it Wacky Wednesday because it's been a wacky day. Now, while on the job today, I talked with two electricians who, guess what they got? They got the Jim Jones juice. Now, it's not what you think it's going to be. It's something quite different. Some joke came up about masks. They said, hey, have you heard? And they both had to tell me they have no idea that I'm right here with you, that we come here every day and talk about this stuff. But they wanted to tell me, these two wacky electricians, they wanted to tell me all about it. They're like, hey, they're locking down schools. They're going to lock down the airplanes. They're going to lock down federal employees first. They're going to do it again. They're coming. And I was like, you are both absolutely correct. And I said, well, Joe Biden, he's got this new Jim Jones juice. It actually works. And they go, bullshit. I'm not believing that. I'm not going to believe. No. I'm like, but you guys took it the first time. Are you telling me you learned your lesson? Is that what you're telling me? Are you telling me that down here in the South, they're both from up in New York? They're kind of transplant dudes. I said, you guys are going to stand on your own 2 feet and tell them no this time? And they said, yeah. They said, no, down here, no, we're not going to fall for that shit again. We're not going to do a 2020 repeat. So I'm going to ask you right now, and I want to welcome you here at the preparedmind.club and subscribestar.com. You guys who are with us live, are you going to fall for it? Of course, I know you won't. But what are you going to do about it this time? What are you going to do about it? Well, Maryland schools are now implementing N95 mask mandates. That's right. The N95, which is actually a surgical mask, but there's something special about these masks, folks. I think I should tell you about them. I really do. I think it's important. If you're an employer and you ask or have your people wear an N95, did you know that under OSHA rules, you've got liability? Now you have to train them how to wear them properly. You have to follow all the rules regarding the N95 because there are precautions. It affects your ability to breathe air. Therefore, you could be losing proper oxygen percentages. You can't just put a mask on an employee because now you are affecting their ability to breathe. Yet the government's going to say, well, put one on and put them on kids and put them here and put them there. They're not harmless masks. They're not harmless. They have an effect on the body. Well, Maryland schools are implementing the mask mandate. Well, in Texas, the governor there, Greg Abbott, said, quote, it's not going to happen in Texas. GOP governors, folks, are going to have to fight this. One moment. Now, as we all know, down in the state of Florida, America's favorite travel destination, the governor there put an end to that shit pretty quick last time. Are they going to even fall for it? Well, the claim is from these two electricians, dude, they're not conspiracy theories. I was like, hey, are you dudes conspiracy theorists? Where are you coming up with this? They said, no, it was just all over the place that they were going to do this, that come September, they were going to start it. And by October, November, they're going to be in full-blown lockdown pandemic claims again. Something we've all heard about. Well, at least most of us have heard about it, or at least heard murmurs of it. Rumors. Well, folks, I fully expect this to happen. We've been waiting for it. We've been waiting, but of course, the election year coming up is the real kicker to cause them to go to this next level. You got Fauci out there talking about it. You got Birx talking about it. You got Biden talking about it. You have schools in Texas implementing it. And is Governor Abbott going to get rid of that shit? Is he going to go in there and say, you can't mandate? There's no emergency. There's no state emergency. Schools can't mandate you put a mask on your face. We're going to find out, folks. It's time to go to war with these people. Not physically, not violence. We're talking political war, intellectual war, a logical war. I'm going to look at anyone that says anything to me, and I'll say, instead of me wearing a mask, if you feel comfortable with a mask, maybe you should wear two. If you think me and you having one on each, that's two, does the job, then you put on two and let me be free. I don't have to share in your misery or your fucking stupidity. And that's how I feel about that. So get your questions down below. Get your thoughts, your concerns. This is your show also. If you are here on the preparedmind.club and subscribestar.com, this is where you come. You pay a $2 premium every month, and we thank you for it. It helps keeps the lights on, keeps spam and tuna fish in the pantry, and we're going. We got it. We're good. But get your questions below. This is how you really get to help others, by hearing that I'm not the only one talking about this stuff, that you guys have ideas about what is happening as well. Now, SHTF along the way. Yeah, it's well along, folks, well along. Now, we've talked about grocery stores closing. We've talked about retail stores closing all over the country. And we talked about, hey, we got them in Washington, D.C. closing down. Well, get this. In D.C., a large grocery chain type store is now bringing in non-name brand laundry detergents in exchange for no-name generic stuff. You want to know why they've made this decision? Folks, it's because no one wants to steal off-brand products. Apparently, the stores have figured that out. Off-brand products. So I have this. Wait until these food stores only carry soy meat and impossible meat and fake meat products. That's all they're going to have on their shelves. And they're going to say, well, if we put anything else out, it just gets stolen. If we put out real chicken, real turkey, real beef, real pork, it gets stolen. So now we're going to only put out this fake meat and make you buy that if you want some sort of protein. And one more time, if I sit down at a fucking bar or restaurant and they ask me what kind of protein I want, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to fucking lose it. I don't eat protein. I eat beef, chicken, turkey, or pork. I don't eat protein. They're trying to substitute, folks, everything in our lives. So they just go, well, you got protein with your dinner. No. Bacterial sludge is not protein. Algaic sludge is not protein. Soy meal is not protein. And yeast vomit, that's not protein. But wait, folks, in these stores, in these poor areas, they're going to start substituting things that nobody wants. They're going to say it's to stop crime, but really it's to make sure everyone in America, starting in the big cities, learns to live at a lower standard of life. That's right. Americans, you're going to become a third world shithole. That's what they want us to do. They want us to settle for junk, for garbage, for crap, for things that don't work, for products that break. That's where they're going with this. Meanwhile, the government's going to live high on the hog, real live hog. They're going to live high on it. Now, get this. In East Palestine, Ohio, does everyone remember what East Palestine is about? Anyone? East Palestine was the site of the train wreck, chemical spill, massive fire, poisoning of the air, the water, the land, everything. That happened last year, it seems like. It seems like it was years ago. Well, the residents there are pissed off because Biden is claiming he's been, quote, too busy to visit there. That's right, folks. It was months and months and months ago, a huge disaster. Biden still has not gone there, still hasn't visited. What has he been doing? Well, you know, vacations are a priority. Hey, he went to Hawaii for their disaster. What, 2-3 weeks later? Only after taking 2 vacations? And I'm sure the only reason Biden went to Maui was because he thought that the president could go visit a vacation hotspot. That's right. He also went down to Florida right after the last hurricane came through. I don't remember him coming down, though, for Hurricane Ian, which completely wiped out Fort Myers. But he'll show up for the other one. He seems to like to go to vacation hotspots. But, yeah, in Hawaii, he probably went for the luau. This is what they think of us, folks. This is how valuable we are. I mean, if you don't think government is full of hypocrites and liars, I'll give you another blast from the past. Another blast from the past. Everyone loves Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Oh, wait a minute. No, we don't. She is a complete dunderhead, folks. Right? She's got sawdust and cobwebs for brains. Now, guess what? She was asked about. Well, you know, while Trump was in office, you went down to the border and you started crying at the fence. Remember those pictures of her crying at the fence that they took and said, oh, yeah, there's children in cages. The border is a crisis situation and Trump is president so bad. That's right. Well, she was asked about that and why she hasn't visited the border since Biden took office. Almost 3 years in office, and she won't go back, hasn't gone back because it's not politically expedient for her. Right? She doesn't want to make Biden look bad. She doesn't want to look stupid again. We know that. But that's what this is all about. Everything is politicized, folks. Everything. The border is politicized. It's not about doing their jobs, their duties, following the Constitution and their oath. It's about it being a political question and serving a political agenda. Schools, making sure all the schools have lots of homosexual and transsexual pornography materials, everything that they could possibly use to groom children to become sex toys for these adults, right? It's a political thing. It has nothing to do with education. It's a political agenda designed to destroy this country. So AOC is just part of the game that's being played, just like all of the rhino Republicans who will not stand up and demand impeachment and actually take it. Why aren't they picketing the Speaker of the House? Because they're there for a political agenda. They're there to enrich themselves and feather their nests, not to do their jobs. But they should. In fact, there's some discussion today. I caught this. Some discussion that Kevin McCarthy may lose his seat as Speaker of the House. I don't know why it hasn't already fucking happened. If the Republicans in Congress were actually Republicans, conservatives, and cared about this country, they would fire his ass, get in a real Speaker of the House, and start impeachment proceedings immediately, just in time for the election. That would be smart. That would be brilliant. You know, and here's the other thing. Okay, Kevin McCarthy, you loser. You have now actually become Speaker of the House. Third most powerful person in the country. You can now say that you were the third most powerful person in the country, and that if 2 good bullets made their way home, you'd be president. That's as high as his political expectations can take him, folks. Nobody becomes president after being Speaker of the House. So Kevin's not going to be the first. Right? He's never going to make it. So why not step down, get the fuck out of the way, and let the Republicans vote? Stop exploiting them, stop extorting them, stop threatening them, stop holding them back with their whatever they've done wrong that they're using to stop them. It is time, folks. We can help them, the good Republicans in Congress, by supporting them and tell them, get McCarthy the fuck out of there. McCarthy, if he had a scintilla of dignity, should step down as Speaker and say, I've done my best. I've put in some good work, and I'm just going to go back to being a regular old congressman and get the fuck out of the way. That would be really great. But he doesn't even have that much class to get out of the way and do what's right for the country, not what's right for the deep state. That's right. There is a deep state, folks. The deep state is real. The deep state's real.
They want to eliminate what they call the deep state. The deep state is a cadre of professionals dedicated to honoring the Constitution, the laws of this country, and carrying out the policies of the Congress and the president. The deep state
is a real thing. That was a real congressman, a real socialist Democrat exposing them. Folks, at every level, from the federal government to the state government, even down to county government, like a district attorney for Fulton County, Fannie Willis. Well, the news media's got something on her, folks. But don't worry, the mainstream media won't let it get any further. That's right. There's a money laundering scandal going on. Money laundering scandal. And Fannie Willis is tied to it. Surprise, surprise, surprise. This is where this country's at. This is government at every level. Whether you're talking about Steny Hoyer and all the Democrat scumbags and rhino Republicans in Washington, all the way down to itty-bitty county prosecutors. This is the country we have. They've co-opted, education, as I discussed, the government, and obviously the financial system. Get this. This one just frosted me when I heard this. Unbelievable. They're trying to just everything. Nothing makes sense. I had another electrician say, John, it's a clown world. This guy is also not a super duper prepper. He doesn't have a YouTube channel. Doesn't even know I'm right here with you guys. A man, folks, was going to cross the Atlantic. The Atlantic Ocean. He was going to cross it, folks, in what? Guess what he wanted to use? Well, let me tell you this. From over in Gomera, I believe it's in the Azores, which is over on the European African side of the Atlantic. They race boats every year. They race them every year down into the Caribbean, an island of the Caribbean. You know what kind of boats they race? Paddle boards. They're not typical paddle boards. They have, food and water and what they need to make it. Rowing across the ocean. And it takes a couple months, I think. Anyways, they row across the ocean from Gomera to, I can't remember which island it was. One of the Caribbean islands. But the U.S. Coast Guard arrested a man who wanted to cross the ocean in his human-powered ocean watercraft. Well, it was shaped like a hamster wheel. Now, why does the Coast Guard need to arrest him, but not, I guess since they were rowing from one island to another island that didn't belong to the United States government, they allow that. But this is a giant SHTF, WTF. Not because people row across the Atlantic. It's something I couldn't do nor would ever try. Why would you arrest somebody wanting to cross the ocean when they allow people to cross the border by the millions into this country and rob us blind in our stores, suck up our social services, hospital services, and any extra money that local governments have to take care of their own people. But the Coast Guard's doing their duty, I guess, saving the world from human-powered hamster wheels. What, did the guy not have the proper life vest? Did he take the tags off his mattresses? What did he do that was so wrong that the Coast Guard stepped in like the manly men they are? Hell, the guy's trying to cross the Atlantic, keeping his carbon footprint low, isn't he? Every time you try doing something to save the planet, what do? They do the opposite. They do the opposite. We need to cut down carbon, so they're burning down fucking forests in America and Canada. That's how they do it, folks. That's how they're going to save us. They're going to save us from ourselves. They truly are. I mean, here we got another great example of your government in action. Has shit hit the fan? Well, I don't know. I mean, you can look around and just, folks, you can see examples of it everywhere. It's not hard to see anymore. For just a regular electrician today telling me about Clown World to two other electricians on another job saying, you know what, this mask lockdown bullshit's coming back and it's fucked up and I'm not doing it. Not again. No, they fooled me once. No. Well, yeah, it is here, folks. It's here. Now, a fella named Owen Schroyer, he had an opinion, folks. He believed that the 2020 election was stolen from Trump and given to Joe Biden. Well, he's going to get 120 days in prison because he shared his opinion, folks. That's a free speech crime. You can't say stuff like that. Folks, in all truth, there is no law prohibiting political speech because every speech, every form of discussion, talk is political in nature, except when you scream fire in a crowded room because there's a fire. That's not political. That's safety. But to say that, well, claiming the election was stolen, that affects public safety, therefore it's outlawed. That is a made-up law. How many other crimes are they going to say have been committed with made-up law, made-up testimony, manufactured witnesses, and manufactured evidence? This is what tyranny is all about. That's right. Department of Justice prosecutors want 120 days. That's 4 months in prison for speaking out against an election that, well, social media is now saying, well, probably happened. And, it's not a safety hazard. Can you believe it, folks, in America? This is America. This is what we've got now. This is what we get now, folks. Is it because we haven't stood up for our rights? Or is it because the government is just continuing to go at top speed? I guess they're kind of like a bank robber. Well, hell, once you rob one bank, you may as well rob every bank you see. After you rob one bank, you're a criminal. You're always a criminal. And anytime you're caught, you're going to jail. So you may as well keep robbing all the banks you can while you can. Also known as getting while the getting's good. So they're violating people's rights left and right, and they're going to continue to do so until they're stopped. That is how tyrants work. It's not like putting salt on a bird's tail, and it's like bird's like, okay, I give up. You caught me. They've been caught, and now they're running scared. They know that they are liable. They know they're in trouble. They know what they're doing is wrong, and they're like, fuck it, let's keep doing it and get worse. And that is exactly what they're doing, folks. Exactly what they're doing. Oh, look at this. YouTube has offered me $50 off the NFL Sunday ticket. I think I'll pass. Why would they send that to me, folks? Because they don't they don't think we're smart enough. They think we're stupid. Now, the government and their minions in the medical world They want to continue to be tyrants, to make up rules as they go, to ignore laws when it suits them, to claim it's an emergency when it works for them. Well, get this, folks. Dr. Thorpe, who's a doctor, not the FDA and not the CDC, a real doctor, says the government may block access to life-saving drugs in another lockdown. You bet. Remember when they wanted everyone to get the Jim Jones juice? And they threatened us all and said, well, you're just not going to get procedures. That's right. If you're not juicinated, then you don't get to have an operation that could save your life. I don't know why there are not more lawsuits for deprivation of rights under color of law, which means bullshit rules. It's time to fight back, folks, against these people. The government may block access to life-saving drugs in another lockdown. Well, what gives them the power and authority to do a lockdown? Well, there's a pandemic. Who is the authority that claims there's a pandemic? Having the cold come back in the winter is not a pandemic, yet they're going to claim it is. If one person dies, they're going to claim it is. Why not say, well, there was an accident, someone died in an automobile, let's outlaw automobiles, let's lock them down. Let's lock down automobiles for 2 weeks to flatten the automobile accident curve. No one's allowed to drive unless you're special, right? There's necessary and unnecessary. What was the term they used, man? It was incredible. It's absolutely incredible how they broke the country into essential and non-essential. How fucking perfect a set of terms is that? Because you can apply it to anything. Well, not everyone gets to live, so only if you're essential. Why doesn't the government look at welfare recipients that way and say, well, we see what your IQ is and what you're trained for, so therefore your essential will help you out. But you're a non-essential because you've got no education, no experience, nothing of value to offer anyone. Why should we take care of you? Why doesn't the government apply essential, non-essential to welfare recipients? Why don't they apply that to people crossing the border, which is what they used to do? Like, you got a green card. You are a worker. You tend to go over here and work for company ABC. You're essential. You're a member of a drug cartel. You have a criminal record. And you've brought 3 children with you who are definitely not your own. You're non-essential. Denied. Why don't we have that? Would be nice, wouldn't it? To see a little bit of, intelligence. Well, intelligence is something we're not going to get much out of anybody these days. How about loyalty? Well, how about this, folks? Liberty Safe. Have you heard of Liberty Safe? Well, I have. They make these big, beautiful, great safes. There's several great safe companies out there that have really nice, big, legitimate safes. And what do people keep in their safes? Well, they keep gold and silver, cash, important paperwork, not to mention guns. Well, Liberty Safe decided they would give the FBI the access codes to somebody's safe. Time to boycott Liberty Safe. Now, why would Liberty Safe claim, well, we need to give FBI access codes? Well, because the person who owned the safe was allegedly involved in the January 6th protest. So now, if the government decides to arrest you, they can call up your safe manufacturer and ask for the codes to get in. Did they have a warrant for that? I say boycott Liberty Safe. Fuck them. Fuck them. They crossed the line. I don't care if this person is being accused of a crime by the FBI. Let the FBI figure out how to get in the safe. Since when is Liberty Safe or any safe company, or any company for that matter, beholden to the government? It seems to me that corporations choose the side of the government in every single instance. Now, what if Liberty Safe was told by the FBI, We have a search warrant, and it demands that you produce the codes. If I was in charge of Liberty Safe, I had turned this into a marketing moment. I would say, we don't have them, we lost them, as they get shredded. Delete the file. Hey, how about a little bit of Hillary Clinton bleach bit on that file so nobody can find it ever? And then stop manufacturing gun safes that have a coded entry. I think that would make a lot of sense, don't you? And then tell my people out there that want to buy safes, you can buy my safe because your code will never be given to anybody. The only person allowed in that safe is the person who has, or the people who have, the access codes. Everyone else can do it the hard way. They can go get a box of dynamite and try blowing their way into the safe like Wile E. Coyote would. Oh, it just ain't that kind of world. It ain't that kind of world, man. I feel like I've been shot out of a cannon. Message there, Mr. Ooh, man. Good deal. Good deal. Now, it is that time of the show where your questions from down below out of the comment section get to come up on the screen and we talk about them. This is your show if you are on the preparedmind.club and subscribestar.com. We have regulars that come in every day, and then we have people who pop by from time to time and they got something they want to hear about. And remember, everyone here helps others understand what is going on, causes others to think about what's going on. And really, that's what I feel I do, is I bring up news items, discussions, of course, involve my particular version and brand of satire, and then challenge you to think and come to your own conclusion about your prepping, your concerns. What SHTF in your world is definitely going to be different than mine, or Ruman's, or Jolene's, right? We're all special that way. But they all take, all situations, or shall I say, all situations we all have require some of the same things: food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, and self-defense. Some will require more food. Some will require more medicine. Some will require more self-defense. So that's why you need to tailor, customize the approach that you have. But those items that I mentioned, right, those are your Maslowian hierarchical needs. That's right, Maslow's hierarchy. You need those items before you can go to the next item, and that is have freedom and security. Without those items, you can't have those things. Okay, let's do this, Mr. Ooman. I think you had a topic that you wanted to cover, and there it is. Ooman says, as if oil prices were not high enough. El Presidente, let's go Brandon Biden, bribe him. He's trying to permanently ban oil and gas development in 40% of the Alaskan National Petroleum Reserve. Isn't that just fucking fascinating? Now, here's the deal about Biden permanently banning things. He cannot permanently ban anything. If he has the power to ban something, the next president has the power to unban it. So what we're being told here is that President Go Bribe him, Joe Biden, has the authority through executive order and federal control of the Alaska National Petroleum Reserve. But Biden will use that term, won't he? Permanently. He'll use it to make, well, Greta, the climate Grinch, happy, and other, shall we say, ecological and environmental wackos happy. But yeah, this is what he's planning on doing. What's this going to do? It's going to drive up oil prices. Yep, gas prices, diesel prices, lubricating oils, which raises the cost of all goods and all services because we all need energy. That's what oil is. It's energy. Energy, oil. Oil, energy. Without gas, imagine what would happen to this country. Without diesel, we're done. We have to have these things. So what does he do? Joe Biden's going to help us all out by, well, shutting down 40% of this petroleum reserve. No more development. Development means exploration, discovery, and then production. You develop into production, and he wants to stop that. Is he going to be remembered for his policies? Nope. The media will never remember. Never remember. The decisions that they are making in Washington today are going to affect us for years, irrespective of who is the next president. It could be President Trump. It could be President George Washington or Ronald Reagan. It wouldn't matter, because the damage is already done. And like an injury to you or me, recovery takes time. So all this damage that Biden is doing hopefully can be undone with the stroke of a pen. Executive Order 12345 will eliminate all executive orders ever written in the past. That's the new executive order, that all other executive orders are rescinded, period. That would be the executive order I would sign. And then if any of those need to be redone, well, tell me why. Prove it to me. This is what we've got with government, folks, is they don't listen. They don't care. Evidence or proof doesn't matter. What matters to them is their political agenda and what's expedient to enriching them. It's exactly what's going on. Gas prices are going to go up, folks. I really thought we could hit that $10 mark back in President Go Bribham's year. And then surprisingly, they backed off. But now it appears they want more. Just in time for election season, Joe, go ahead and hurt your chances even more. And it was as if that wasn't a big enough insult. Not what I said to you, but the fact that the government wants to shut down our country. There's now a claim amongst political pundits on the left side. Get what they're saying. They're saying that Kamala Harris is now ready to step into the Oval Office as president. That's right. She would be the first. Was she black? A lot of discussion about that. Woman? Well, I guess that she is, because enough people have seen her hoo-ha that they know that she's a woman. But she's ready. She did another speech the other day and completely bunged it up again. She is the queen of word salads. Queen of word salad. She'll just take a sentence and jumble everything up as if she's fucking tossing that salad. And it makes no sense. She makes no sense. She would have just... I can't imagine what the founding fathers would have said. Never mind that she's a supposed black woman. If they tried listening, they'd be like, who brought us the village idiot and said this is the president? So we've gone from George Washington at the top to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. That's where we're at, folks. You want to doubt that shit has hit the fan? You're going to argue with that? Or argue for that? Unbelievable. Okay, oh man, who do we got next? And it's name redacted. He says, so far, I have not seen anyone of prominence publicly say or notice that Congress and the Senate have been made irrelevant. I don't know anyone of prominence publicly. Let's see. Because, well, name redacted, do you mean when you say publicly say, are you talking about political officials and political figureheads? Are you talking about celebrities? I mean, who else can say things? Well, there's big social, big tech, right? Well, the comedic pundits who don't have writers for them in Hollywood anymore, they're not saying anything, but they're all leftists, and that's the deal. Nobody wants to bring up the fact that this country is being run by a de facto tard, Joe Biden. The Senate and the Congress are barely even figureheads. Barely figureheads. The country is being run by Joe Biden from the White House, who thinks he can dictate everything. and people are being made to pay for, well, completely fabricated rules that are broken. In the case of Trump, January 6th protesters, and anyone who wants to question authority, or if you want to speak out against the Jim Jones juice and cerveza bug lockdowns, I guess they should be charged with, well, crimes, right? Speech crimes. The Congress and the Senate are they're non-existent. They're irrelevant, right? Correct. And who's going to stand up and say something? Actor John Voight, actor James Woods. While they're fun to quote, they get a lot of attention, but that's really not going to change anything. How do we get the change we need? The change we desire, the change we have to have, or this country dies? We don't get what we need. I don't think we're going to. It's not that we're not meant to have change. It's just we're not going to get it. We're not going to get it. We've been voting, and what has that gotten us? Well, it got us a supposed insurrection. It caused everyone to back up and go, hey, I ain't protesting anymore. I'm one of them. I'm not going to go protest in D.C. Fuck it. Why? They'll just arrest your ass. We're being run by fiat or de facto bureaucratic law enforcement. That's what the executive office is. It's law enforcement. Right? The president marshals the military. The president directs the Department of Justice, which includes the Attorney General Office and the FBI. Both of them political, federal level organizations. Doing stuff with Nikki wants to step up. I hadn't even got a chance to get my breath through, man. Doing stuff with Nikki. She checks in and says, we're all really still just serfs until everyone gets that we won't get anywhere. And I think that's a literal sense that we won't get anywhere. You're literally not going to go anywhere in an automobile if the left gets their way. You're going to travel outside of your 15, 20, 30-minute circle that's around your world. You're not allowed to travel. They'll shut down your credit cards outside of the, well, safe zone. Can you imagine that if you traveled outside of a 20 or 50-mile radius that your credit card quit working or your central bank digital currency quit working? It's only good inside the circle you live in, and cash is not acceptable because it's just not out there anymore. That's why they want cashless society, folks. They want their taxes. They want to know what you're doing, and they want to control the expansion. You will not get anywhere literally. Now, going back to getting somewhere politically with respect to doing stuff with Nikki's comments. They want to control that as well. And she says, we're all really just serfs. And that's not serfs up. It's the other kind of serf, the peasant, a.k.a. pissant. I read it again earlier this morning. I don't know if it was 2 or 3 a.m. Someone referring to the system we have as neo-feudal, where we have overlords and we're controlled within a certain geography. We're either controlled and told you can't travel, or you're so restricted by the expense of it and your lack of income that we are controlled. We're serfs. We're living on a plantation run by our masters. What would happen? Let me ask you this. What would happen when slaves left the plantation without permission? You're a runaway slave. What would happen to you? Well, once you're captured, what would happen? Once you're captured, well, you're punished. And then you're sent back to where you came from. What do you think is going to happen if you try taking your automobile and going outside your territory? Right? We're going to be captured and punished. You talk outside of the guidelines, right? You're allowed to talk about this much stuff. You want to talk about a little bit more like John does? Forget it. We're going to silence you. Gonna silence you. That's your punishment. You're going to be punished. You're going to be kept on the speech plantation. You can only talk about these subjects here, not these subjects. You're not allowed to. You're only going to travel here. You're not allowed to travel here. You're only going to eat these foods here. You can't have this other stuff called meat. It's coming, folks. I strongly believe that. I feel it. I sense it. I don't think there's any other way to think about it. Let me give you a taste of what's going on around the world. And then you can tell me how we're doing in America. The other day, they decided, and I haven't seen the verdict, but they were going to decide in Finland if it's a crime to quote the Christian Bible online. Is that a crime? Well, folks, in Saudi Arabia, a retired teacher decided he was going to do some tweeting on X, formerly Twitter. And guess what he gets for that? He has been provided with the death sentence. In other words, the state is going to kill him. So in Finland, it can be a crime, where you pay a penalty in money and go to jail. In Saudi Arabia, you mess up on free speech issues and you can get killed for it. Now, when I first read this, teacher receives death sentence for tweets, I thought, oh shit, this is San Francisco or Washington, D.C. or Portland. Turns out it is Saudi Arabia. But really, how far behind is the United States government system coming out of Washington, D.C.? How much longer until they tell us we can't quote the Bible on our own YouTube channel? That you can't quote the Bible on the street? That's right. People are being arrested in America for reading the Holy Bible on the street. And even quoting it online will get you thrown in jail in Finland. So is it a surprise that Saudi Arabia wants to kill people for saying the wrong things? Of course not. Man, we think of them as a bunch of barbaric idiots, a bunch of camel riding ding-dongs. That's what we're supposed to think of them, right? They're backwards, right? They're back-asswards. And then you look at Europe and you're like, ooh, they're kind of fucked up. And then we look at America. Holy cow. Yeah, you go protest, the police attack you, and then you get accused of being an insurrectionist. You're the bad guy all of a sudden. Doesn't make a lick of sense, does it? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. All right, Mr. Ooman, let's do this. I can't remember. Are we ready for the next one, or do I get to do this? Shoot. My screen blacked out. Here we go. Mikey G says, what about the liquid death that was released from Japan? Crickets. What is Mikey G talking about? What's liquid death? Well, they're supposed to be releasing radioactive water at Fukushima. Crickets. Where's the mainstream media? I thought we're supposed to be concerned about the planet. That's what I thought we were supposed to be, is concerned about the planet. Liquid death released from Japan. Well, I tell you what, Mikey, if you catch a fish and it glows in the dark, don't eat it. What else are you going to say? What else are you going to do? You can't stop them. I mean, what's going to happen? Is the United Nations environmental wing, are they going to send a bill to Japan? Are they trying to scare us, you and I, by claiming they're releasing this water? Or are they really releasing dangerous, toxic, radioactive water? I don't know what they're doing. I just know what they've told us. That's really all I know, is what they tell us. I'm not going to go drink water in Japan. Are they trying to scare the people in Japan? Are they trying to piss off China? Are they trying to frighten Canada and the Pacific coast of America? Are they trying that? Crickets. Where are the environmentalists? Where is Gretchen the Grinch now? Where is she? Where's that little turd, Greta Van whatever the hell her name was. Or is that Greta Van Susteren? I was totally messing that one up. What is Greta's last name? I can't even remember. Little Swedish brat. Crazy. Well, if you think that's bad, folks, you might be more worried about this. You might be more worried about this biohazard situation. A Delta flight had to turn the plane around. No. It's not one of the United flights that had to turn back and land. Remember that one? Because, well, they wouldn't say. They just grounded every single United flight. That was just yesterday. Until all of a sudden they were all miraculously fixed. Once again, sounds to me kind of like ransomware at work. Anyways, we have a Delta flight making a U-turn and landing the plane. Why? And you're going to have to forgive me. And luckily it's before dinner time. But one of the passengers had a diarrhea crisis. It took 5 hours to clean this plane up and a full carpet replacement. That's a serious biohazard situation, folks. Was this a Burning Man idiot who brought his diseases out? Is it a monkeypox freak who couldn't hold, right? This monkeypox freak couldn't hold his sphincter shut and just let loose. Or is this one of the new Jim Jones juice reactions? Or are they going to claim this is the new cerveza bug? It makes you into a Hershey squirter. Anyways, that is really kind of awful. It seems to me that the situation everywhere is acute. The SHTF situation. In the Orient, in the Asia zone, Asia Pacific zone. And there is an Orient somewhere. I know they have an Oriental Express. There's an Orient somewhere because there's the Near East and the Far East and the Orient. It's just, it kills me that, people get so offended over a fucking word, Orient. I still, the other day I drove by a grocery store that said Oriental Foods. And I thought, well, what country's foods do they serve then? Where's the Orient? It used to be what we call Asia, but they've taken that away from us. That's bad. Anyways, Burning Man idiot, monkeypox freak, Jim Jones juice reaction, or new cerveza bug. Comment down below. What caused the Delta doo-doo problem? Look out. Look out. It's coming. All right, Mr. Uman, I know we've got some more stuff to talk about. Who is next? We got Village Idiot checking in. Always making me laugh, man. Says, I was immune to the hoax the first time, and they ain't sticking no needles in me. I'm not a pincushion. I'm not a lab rat. You see, I think if you take the approach, and I do recommend people try taking this approach. Follow me here, camera guy. The approach of telling somebody, you don't own me. Try taking that. You don't own me. Or if you do own me, show me evidence. Give me the evidence that you own me and you can tell me what to do, that you have the authority. And pointing to a badge, that's not evidence. That's pointing to a badge. Pulling out a gun and saying you'll do what I say, that's what highwaymen and robbers do. That's what criminals do and warlords do. That is not evidence. Show me evidence you own me, that I'm your slave. You see, slaves are property. Slaves are chattel. Cattle are chattel. They have to do as they're told. Free men don't do as they're told. They do as they will. They do as they please. Practice being free. In fact, I've done this, and I don't know if you're going to feel comfortable doing it, but I certainly get a good kick in the pants over it, is finding somebody who's pretending to be an authority figure and walking up to them and giving them a hard time. Try it. Give someone a hard time who's being an authoritarian prick. If someone wants to be a safety Sally, a safety Sue, or a Karen, if you will, and I know Karen's out there got a bad rap, but hey, We all take a bad rap. I'm still the John going to the John, a toilet. I still got that bad rap to deal with. Anyways, in England, it's a loo. In Australia, it's a dummy. Anyways, step up and stand up to small authority. If you see a Karen, ask them who the hell they think they are, what authority they have. Hey, you're going to get a chance real soon when these mask mandates come back. And all the Karens come right on out and want to tell you, right, your own business. And they ain't sticking no needle in me. No government has the authority to do that, folks. All they can do is ask. Well, they can ask and pretend to be authoritative. They can ask and make it sound like you have to. They can even ask and pull a gun on you. And they still don't have the right. In fact, they still don't have the legitimate authority. But they have none. Neither are right, because governments do not have rights. Governments have authority. Governments have power. They do not have rights. Only living creatures, us, human beings, have rights. Everyone else has authority, whether presumed, legitimate, or despotic. That's all there is. Anyways, great topic. Great topic. Mr. Uman, who else do we have out there? What do you got? What are you fucking laughing at me for?
Okay, Biaxo wins the chat today. You asked, what do you think the cause of that Delta problem was?
Mm-hmm.
He said it was the Delta variant.
Who says that? Who?
Biaxo said that.
Biaxo. It's the Delta
Biaxo,
variant.
you win the chat today.
Well, you couldn't take it.
Oh, my God.
You couldn't put it on the screen. You had to hand deliver that one.
Yeah, because all he typed was Delta variant. You were already on to another topic, so I didn't know if you'd
Okay.
make that connection going back there. So I just had to tell you.
It was the Delta variant. Okay.
The Delta variant.
I was wondering what would come up with. That's.
Oh, my God.
I actually forgot about the Delta variant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Biaxo.
Good job.
You win, man. You win. Thanks, Sue, man. Okay. Do we have one more? Where are we at? What do we got for Uman? Oh, Uman says, it also looks like Turtle McConnell might retire at the end of his term in 2026. Oh, yeah. His doctor came out and said there's nothing wrong with the guy. He just froze up a couple of times. He just looks like he had a total seizure, a stroke, but he's fine. No problem. Yeah, he'll just go to the end of his next term, the end of his term in 2026, or one more term after that. He's a fossil. He is a legitimate fossilized human being who is holding office. There ought to be, and I'm going to be very clear and plain about this. I don't think there's one in the Constitution. There's something for the president that says if he's incapable of acting and carrying out his duties, then he should be removed. I think they need to do that with Biden. Biden should have never been allowed to take the office. I think there should be a competency test, a literal competency test. One of the things the government does is they're supposed to deal with problems. What kind of problems? Whatever problems they're in charge of, right? We don't fix things that are broken. I'm sorry. We fix things that are broken. We don't fix things that are not broken. So knowing that, understanding that, government's job is to leave us the fuck alone. And if something's broken, try and fix it. That requires problem-solving skills, which means logic, reasoning, the ability to understand information, and then look at historical cases, what has been done in the past to solve similar problems. So if you don't have a basic minimum level IQ and the ability to solve problems, you shouldn't have the job. So being one of these old frickin' fossils like Turtles McConnell or Nancy Pelosi or Joe Biden, it ought to disqualify them from office unless they can establish through a test, not a political test, but a test that they have enough intelligence to make good decisions. We can't get rid of these fucking people fast enough. We just can't. It's really too bad. Thank you, Mr. Uman. I'm wondering if I have the Delta variant. Wow. Totally missed that one. Right over the top. Folks, chance favors the prepared mind. Is yours. Get prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and your plan. Because you're going to need it. Things are getting nasty out there. Godspeed. Semper Fi.